Ever sit down at the gym and have no idea what you are planning to do next? Here's how I fix that for good. In this video, I'll show you exactly how I use Fitness Tracker Pro, the Notion template that I built to replace my workout apps and guide my workouts in real time. I'll take you on a quick tour of the features that I built into Fitness Tracker Pro and show you exactly how I use it whenever I sit down at the gym. If you've ever felt disorganized or distracted during your workouts, you're not alone, and this could be the system that finally clicks. Alrighty, so I have a series where I went through this exact document where we built the entire thing from scratch. Now, I've actually added a few new features. Just today, I had a couple new ideas and I'll walk you through those. But if you're interested, head over to my series on how I built Fitness Tracker and you can see exactly step by step every single thing that I built. There's a basic version of this that has many of the core features already in it. And then you can also get Fitness Tracker Pro as a complete download. So if you want to build it, go check out my series. If you just want to download it and get to work, head to queerefficiency.com/fitness and both options will be available right there for you. So we're going to do this in two parts. The first part is I'm going to give you a quick tour, kind of a walkthrough of all the features that are in Fitness Tracker Pro. And then I'm going to switch over to using my phone and I'm going to show you exactly what I would do when I sit down on the weight bench, how I use this every single day. It's very powerful, but also really, really simple. So let's take a look at this. It's split into a few sections. There's the main database, and then there's some stuff here on the left in this sidebar. So there are a few views, this exercise view, a today view, a muscles view, and a history view. So we'll just go through each one of them and I'll talk you through each one. I built this the way that I use it, but it's infinitely flexible so you can change it to suit your exact needs, but this is the way I use it. So I have a few groups here you can see. These are the groups that I have. Now they're always expanded, but I just collapsed them so I could show you. I have an upper body push and pull day. I also have one that I couldn't really come up with a better name for. I called it upper body focus, and it just allowed me to target the muscle groups a little differently and hit them again. Then I have a core and a lower body group. And then I have this last thing that I call candy bag. I stole that from The Office, actually. I listened to Office Ladies and they talk about how they had their candy bag alts when the writers would give them alternative jokes to tell and they would just go through those. The candy bag is kind of just where you're gonna grab random exercises from. So I toss things in there and then ultimately I may rotate them into my actual groups. Within each group, there's a set of about 6 exercises. Now, I wanna call one out real quick because I've been keeping it out of all of the production versions every time I've shared this template, but I'm leaving it in from now on. I do Kegel exercises when I'm at the gym. I know that seems like an odd thing to do, but I'm there exercising and it's just another muscle. I'm training my pelvic floor. I'm sitting on the weight bench, and as I get through one set of each of these, this is one exercise that's there, and I just set a 2-minute timer and I do a varied Kegel exercise routine. So that's there. I'm gonna start leaving it and it's gonna stay in the template from now on. You're welcome to delete it if you don't want to do those while you're at the gym, but I do, and that's why it's there. Beyond that, I have the actual exercise, a today button that toggles on or off the exercise, and it does so by adding a 0 in the set column, and this is where you'll track the number of sets. This column used to be called weight, but I changed it to count because it's not just weights that I have listed here. I have seconds, I have reps per set, and I'll show you why in just a minute. So I changed this to count, but in general, you can think of this as the weight that it is. This I just added, it's a units column. So I can see this exercise is 32.5 pounds. I'm using dumbbells for that. This one is 120 seconds. The Kegel exercise, I've gotten to the point where I can hold a Kegel for 2 straight minutes. So that's what kind of my record there. That's not what I do every single time. So I use these a little differently. You're welcome to modify them to suit your own needs. Then down here, I have a reps per set. These are body weight exercises that I do. I needed something there instead of just a 0 to indicate that it's body weight. Number of reps per set that I've gotten to where I start to reach failure, and I'll increase those as I get further up. I should add, the rest of these, I don't count the number of reps. I just do them to failure, and I have essentially a range, a minimum that I try to hit. 8 is usually the minimum that I try to hit, and then I do the exercise to failure. So that's why I don't count the reps anywhere on here. The next column is for muscle groups, and you'll see more about that when we get over here, but it just is the broad strokes of what muscle groups these exercises target. I will say, I did a lot of this with AI. I mean, a lot of it makes sense, but I'm not a certified fitness trainer. So definitely check my work if you want to confirm that it's right. But in general, it's not that hard to assume that something like a shoulder press is going to target your upper back and your triceps. Like, it's not that crazy. Then I added a YouTube video for each one. So if you click on that, it will take you to a demo of that particular exercise. So these are all pretty good and they're there for you if you need them. Now, in the Today view, this is filtered by the set column, and it only shows exercises that have a value in the set column. So that's why the 0 works. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you one of the functions here. I'm going to reset this workout, and right now there's nothing here because I reset it. And what that does is it clears everything from the set column. Now, let's turn on 3 from this group and then 3 from this group just because I'm just making this up. You'll see that they all start with a 0, and those show here in the Today view. In this view, you'll notice that it's pretty wide. This one is primarily made for mobile, and what you'll see on the screen is much, much less, but some of these things are handy to be able to scroll over to. I'll show you that when we get to that part of the video. But really, the most important sections of this are the first 4 columns: the exercise plus set, the set count, and then the actual count, the weight or the count of the exercise. So as I'm going through these, I can just hit plus set and it will allow me to track as I've done the standing reverse fly or the concentration curl. I can go through and it will keep track of the number of sets here. Also in this view, if I undo that, you can see that this is sorted by the weight. So I can see, okay, this I'm probably going to need to sit in front of the dumbbell in a particular spot. I'll probably grab and hold on to the 32.5 pound dumbbells, but then I can go up and just take the 30 pounds as I need them and the 20 pounds as I need them. So this is a quick way of seeing what weights I would need for that day's workout. Then I have this plus and minus button. These allow me to increase and decrease the weights that I've got in this column. And it will do so in half-pound increments. So you're able to quickly decrease and increase. Then these other columns show here. These are the areas from back here. This is the area. And it shows, and then also the muscle groups. Now, you might be wondering, why are there 2 exercise columns? This is something that's a quirk of Notion. We'll get into this. I'll show you when we dive into my phone. But if I keep this, so let's actually flip back to the exercises view. In this column, you'll notice that this open button exists. On mobile, which is where I primarily use the Today view, I want to keep things as compact as possible. And this open button sort of gets in the way and it makes a lot of the rows expand. So I don't really like how that looks. So I have this set up. It's just a simple formula that copies this over here. So that's all that is. That's why it's there. I'll show you what it looks like and how it differs in the mobile app. This view here groups just by muscles. So if I wanted specifically to absolutely pummel my biceps, I could come here, turn on biceps, all of them, and just go to town. Don't really recommend doing it that way, but you could. And if you're specifically looking to target something, you can using this view. I do have a few that have no muscle group currently. The reason for that is these are some that I just added to the candy bag and I haven't actually processed them yet. So these aren't set up fully and that's where they live. So I can see them here. The last view is the history view. Now, as I'm doing my workouts, there's a couple of things that are happening in the background with a couple of the buttons. The plus set button does a few things. It increments this column, but it also does a couple things for the history. It will update when I did my last set. And then this is something new that I just added. It will increase the count for that set so I can see how many I've done over time. I figured it could be an interesting little metric to have, so it can't hurt to have it there. And it will just keep counting. It will just increase that every time you click that button so you'll know how many of those sets you've done since you started using this. The last thing in this that's not the muscle groups, and this is the same property that you've seen in the other tabs, is this log view. This is tracked when you increase or decrease the weight. And this allows you to see over time how you changed your weights. So let me show you how that works. I'm going to increase the chest fly by, let's say, 2.5 pounds to 35. So I'm just going to hit that button a few times to increase it. And now it's at 35. There's an automation that runs in the background. So if I flip back here and I look for chest fly, you'll see right there, it was 32.5. And now today it was moved up to 35. So it keeps a running history of that. I'm going to delete that from my document because I don't need it to do that. And I'm just realizing I'm going to have to do it again, which I could do. So this actually is the perfect segue into let's take a look inside and you can see some of the other properties all laid out. So you can see the count, the last set, the full set count, the muscle group, the demo video, and the log in one compact view if you open the exercise. So that lives in here too. Couple other quick things. Let me reset the workout. There's a randomize button. This isn't my favorite feature. There's something I wish that Notion will roll out, which is a random function for formulas, but it doesn't exist. So there's this kind of quirky workaround in the background. What it will do is it will select a random chunk of exercises, and sometimes it's a lot. So I could come back in here and turn some of these off if I wanted, but it is available if you want something random. Sometimes it selects fewer, sometimes it selects this many, and that's kind of how that works. So this button will, as it says, clear the sets, weights, and log entries. So it will blank all of that out if you wanted to start from scratch. So that's what it's for. If you happen to get my document and there's still data from me in there, you can hit that, but I mostly built it for myself so I can reset it for the version I push to production for you. The last thing over here, this I find I use all the time now. I basically stick to these groups. And so what I found is it's really quick to hit one of these buttons and turn on a workout. Let's say I wanted to do today's upper body pull. I can hit upper pull and it will reset all the sets. Now, some of them you can see, some of them have zeros in other groups. That's because those exercises, for instance, the concentration curl, appears in multiple groups. Same with the Kegel. It appears in every group, even though it doesn't necessarily belong in an upper body workout. I do it every single day for the Kegel. That's why some of them show a 0, even though I just turned this on. But if you look at the today view, it will show you only that. So let's just, for example, say lower body, and it flipped everything to lower body. And it's just a quick thing. I sit down, I hit that one button, and I'm ready to go. So speaking of mobile, let's jump into my phone and take a look at how I would use this tracker when I got to the gym. So I have a widget set up, which you can do both on Android and iOS, that there's a widget on my home screen. I can just tap that and it will go right to this page. And then I have all of the features that we just looked at available here. So most of the time, the first thing I do when I launch this page is hit reset workout. And then I'm able to scroll down and see everything like I did before, but just for mobile. So what I tend to do is I look at the history first and see what I did most recently. So, because most of the time I don't remember what I did the day before and I have to come back here and look. So it looks like I haven't done a lower body workout in a little bit. So that's what I'm gonna do today. So I come back to exercises and I could, as I mentioned, scroll down and hit today and turn those on. So if I do that, you'll see that pops right up. But what I do instead now is I just hit lower and that turns on the exercises I need. Then I flip to the today view and this is all I look at when I'm sitting at the gym. You can see that, as I mentioned, those 4 properties are the only things that show. And so I get a very clear look at what I need. Now I can see I need the 65-pound weights and that's it for this. That's all I need for this exercise. So I'll first sit on the bench, do what I just did. Then as I know I need 65-pound weights, I go to the weight rack, pick those up, bring them back to my bench. And then I can just go through these in whatever order I choose. Usually I save the Kegel for last. So as I go through, let's say I did the donkey kick. See, as I added a set, it dropped down into this next group. So I can see these are the only exercises that I have to do. And I just go through these one at a time. As I complete them, I usually do 3. That's why this shows the little set counter is a third filled, because it means that I've got a third done. I've got it set to 3. You could customize that and change that. So if you were typically doing 4 sets or 2 or whatever, you could change that. And then as I get through each one, they just go back into the main group and I can see, okay, I've got those. Now, let's say I did another set of squats. You can see it starts a new group. So I can see exactly where I am and how complete I am with my workout. So I can get through each one, and that's how I do it every single time. I go through, do the exercises, and then I have the ability to quickly increase and decrease with these buttons over here, and that's it. I have been using this tracker every single day for months now. I've improved it over time, but it really, really works. It's so simple. I don't have to pay a monthly fee for any sort of app. I can add whatever exercises I want. I can pull things in, I can customize the groups, I can customize the weights, I can customize everything. Now, you don't have to. Everything is pre-built this way and you can do it however you want, but also you could just do it the way it's already set up and start using it immediately. So it's very simple and I am in love with this. Like I use it every single day and it's one of the best Notion templates that I've ever built. So if you're interested in grabbing this template right now, you can head to queerefficiency.com/fitness. And on that page, you'll have 2 options. The first option will be to get Fitness Tracker Pro, which is everything that you've seen here, and it will include everything that you've seen. There's also the option to download the basic fitness tracker that I set up in my YouTube tutorial. So speaking of that, if you want to learn how to build this, I have a playlist of those videos where you can see step by step how to build this. It doesn't have every single thing because I've added some new features, but it's got almost everything that's in here. So if you want to learn how to build it, you can by watching those videos. There is a spot that we switch from Fitness Tracker, the basic, to Fitness Tracker Pro, and it tells you about that. So you'll know which one you're getting. But if you go to queerefficiency.com/fitness, that's where you can download either one. There's buttons right at the top for both. Alrighty, that's it for this video. I hope that you found this useful. If you did find something useful in this video, I would love a thumbs up. I would love a like on the video because it tells the algorithm to show you my content and to put my content out there, and also tells me what I should keep creating. And also, if you're finding my content overall useful, would love for you to subscribe. And remember, if you'd like to learn how to build this, I've got a video for that right now, and you'll see it on your screen. Looking forward to seeing you over there.